Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I am very happy to see and meet all of you, although virtually. Maraming salamat po sa pagpapakilala sa akin. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be speaking to you this afternoon and to be sharing for your project KKK, Kakayahan ng Kababaihan tungo sa Kaunlaran, in line with the National Women's Month with the theme, We Make Change for Women, Agenda ng Kababaihan tungo sa Kaunlaran that promotes gender equality and women empowerment in the academy. This is education, a facilitating factor towards women empowerment. Una po ay gusto kong ipaliwanag ang dalawang termino na dapat maunawaan nating lahat sa paksang ito, gender equality and women empowerment. What is gender equality? It is when people of all genders have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. It is a matter of equitable distribution of power, influence, and resources in society. Mga lalaki at babae na may pantay na mga karapatan, responsibilidad, kakayahan, lakas, impluwensya, at gawain. Ayon po sa World Economic Forum o WEF ay rank number 8 po ang Pilipinas na nakapagtala ng Gender Gap Report noong 2017. However, our latest rank, according to the Philippine News Agency or PNA, Philippines is now on the 17th in Global Gender Gap Report 2021 of the WEF. But in Asia Pacific, we place second next to New Zealand. Next, what is women empowerment? It is promoting women's sense of self-worth, their ability to determine their own choices, and their right to influence social change for themselves and for others. Ito po ay ang pagsusulong ng pagpapahalaga sa sarili ng mga kababaihan, mga karapatan sa pagpili, at pagdedesisyon at ang ating mga gampanin sa pagbabago ng ating mga sarili at ng lipunan. To achieve women's empowerment in the Philippines, the government adopted the Magna Carta of Women or MCW in 2009. Now that we already understand what gender equality and women empowerment exactly mean, let me talk about its effect in the world of academe. Ang edukasyon po ng isang tao ang nagpapabuti ng kanyang buhay. Kapag ang isang tao po ay nakapag-aral, ay nagkakaroon siya ng kakayahan para isulong ang mga bagay ukol sa kalusugan, trabaho at nagkakaroon ng kakayahan para makibahagi sa mga issue at gawain sa lipunan at maging sa politika. Ang edukasyon ay isang karapatang pantao na dapat ay pantay na naipagkakaloob sa lahat, kabilang na ang mga kababaihan. It is imperative that women are educated. Why? Because it allows women to participate in the labor force and allows them to sustain herself and the needs of her family. This stems from the fact that in modern Filipino families, both husband and wife should engage in productive work to earn enough for their family's needs. Tingnan po natin ang kalagayan ng edukasyon ng kababaihan sa ating bansa. In the recent research, the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act of 2017, known as Republic Act number 10931, for the academic year 2018-2019, the subsidy benefited 655,083 women and 477,897 men. Of the 555,083 women, 28.37% or 185,874 were graduating, while 8.87% or 58,125 were in their third year. In addition, 8,057 of these women were categorized under persons with disability, in which they get another 50% of the annual benefit in addition to the regular allocation. Further, national government efforts to increase women's access to retention and completion of education in technical and vocational education and training have been undertaken through TESDA Scholarship Program, which caters and responds to challenges faced by women and girls in various poor communities. This report was taken from the Philippine Commission on Women. Tingnan po naman natin ang latest research in terms of functional literacy rate. Lumabas po ito noong 2019 at inilathala ng Philippine Statistics Authority. Females posted a higher functional literacy rate than males at 92.9% and 90.2% respectively. This was based on the results of the PSA's Functional Literacy, Education, and Mass Media Survey or FLEMS. Kung titingnan po natin, mas advantage ang mga kababaihan sa mga researches na nabanggit na nagpapatunay na may mga hakbang na ginagawa para maisulong ang gender equality at women empowerment sa ating bansa. Ngunit ang tanong ay, sapat na ba ito? During President Duterte's address in the celebration of International Women's Day on March 8th, he admitted, and I quote, "I am proud of the Philippines' distinction as a shining beacon of gender equality and women empowerment in the world. However, while a growing consciousness on equality is already an impressive feat and women are breaking the glass ceiling, I believe that we can do more." Let me repeat the last clause. I believe that we can do more. So, what can all of us do to advance gender equality and women empowerment in the Academe? All of us have roles to take. Let me talk about first the government's responsibilities. There's a lot of them, but I chose the two basic ones. One is to provide more and better access to education, information, and innovation, such as building more schools, especially in the remote areas, access to resources, and internet, especially these days. The second is the strict implementation of pro-women policies and laws. Sa pananaw ko po ay hindi na kailangan gumawa pa ng mga panibagong batas para dito dahil marami ng magagandang nagawa o naisabatas na. Ang kailangan na lang ay ang mahigpit at makatotohanang pagsasakatuparan ng mga ito. Ang sunod ko pong katanungan ay, ito ba ay responsibilidad lang ng gobyerno natin? Sagot, hindi po. So, this time, let's talk about empowering mothers. Okay, so why the mothers? Alam po natin ang sagot. The mother is primarily assigned in rearing of children. First, empowering mothers means mothers that are given the chance to get education. A mother's level of education has been found to create positive educational outcomes for her children. Educated women build smaller families with lower rate of children dying in infancy. Surviving children are given better access to education. Educated mothers also lead a better quality life for the children. When mothers are educated and empowered to make choices in their lives, they enable their daughters to go to school. Pero dahil nga po may mga paniniwala noon pa man o prinsipyo na ang mga babae ay hindi na kailangang mag-aral dahil mag-aalaga lang naman sila ng mga anak sa bahay at maglalaba, maglilinis, magluluto lang sa araw-araw. Gusto ko pong kunin ang pagkakataong ito para i-encourage ang ating mga magulang, mga nanay na kasama natin ngayon sa ating webinar na hindi po nakapagtapos pa ng pag-aaral. You as a mother and as a woman should give yourself the chance to get educated po. It's not yet too late. Maaring sabihin niyo sa akin, naku ma'am, madali lang yan sabihin. Napakarami naming gawain sa bahay araw-araw. Wala na nga kami panahon sa aming mga sarili. I understand that perfectly. Pero napakarami pong paraan ngayon para matuto. Formal education is one and definitely better, but nowadays self-tutorial works. Go to YouTube, read a lot, and you will definitely learn. In other words, it is us who should empower ourselves. Let us not rely on what the government and the schools can do. So, looking again at our slide, these are the wonderful benefits of having mothers at home who are educated. Parents play a critical role in their children's education. In this time of pandemic, there should be parents' active participation in guiding their children with online distance learning. And for your information, recently I have created my YouTube channel with educational contents, and there I shared creating a home learning environment, a guide to homeschooling for parents and guardians. Kung may oras po kayo ay panoorin po ninyo. Another critical role of parents that affect gender equality is household chores that are delegated to daughters. Dahil nasa bahay lang ang mga anak natin, we take advantage of their time and presence. Sila ang pinaglalaba, pinagluluto, at pinag-aalaga ng mga kapatid. According to UNESCO, school closures have sent about 90% of all students out of school, among them more than 800 million girls. Young women and girls are recognized as one of the vulnerable groups in the COVID-19 pandemic. A survey conducted by Plan International among young women and girls found that inability to study at home has two leading causes. One is internet connectivity problems, and number two, the need to help with household chores. Let's take a look at the graph, which is all about time spent studying. In this graph, we can see that there is a substantial reduction in the number of hours spent daily on studying by young women and girls. Among the respondents, 28% studied for 1 to 2 hours only, while 20% studied for less than an hour, and only around 12% studied between 3 to 5 hours a day. Now, this time around, let's talk about the roles of curriculum developers. Now that we have shifted in digital learning, gender bias and stereotypes in curricula and learning materials are becoming more prevalent in printed materials and on different learning modalities. What are the roles of the curriculum developers? Number one, thorough review of new instructional and teaching materials para po maiwasan ang mga pagkakamali ng mga content at mga lengguaheng ginagamit. Number two, the disuse of gender biases, stereotypes, and sexist languages embedded in curricula, instructional materials, and education policies. And number three, the learning materials must convey messages and shape the mindset and perspective of the children. What about the teacher's roles and influence? Language potentially influences students' career goals, their choice of subjects at school, or even just what lessons they prefer. While most of us probably know that there are no meaningful differences in the academic potential of girls and boys, we can all say things that we are not aware of, but inadvertently perpetuate gender stereotypes. Now, there's a lot of ways to maximize our influence teachers, but I chose the basic ones again that we can possibly apply in our classes. You can also be intentional about integrating a mix of boys and girls within small group projects. The work can be purely academic, with the lessons on gender equity indirect and implicit. By working together, girls and boys can better understand, of course, if supported well, the nuance of individual behaviors rather than stereotyping girls and boys. Finally, raise aspirations of girls and their parents. We need to give girls images and role models that expand their dreams. I am aware that teachers in your school have been doing these. Keep it up, ma'ams and sirs. Continue defining a vision for the future, drafting action plans, thinking about how to sustain and increase motivation, inspiration, independence, and confidence. And defining, working on current levels of activity and support, and being open to change, learning, and a transformational process. Before I end my talk, let me share with you the highlight of President Duterte's message in the celebration of International Women's Day this year. And I quote, "Let us all come together in building a country where no one is left behind and everyone has the capacity to succeed." I hope I have shared some enlightenment with you today. Again, it is a pleasure on my part. Special thanks to Ma'am Janine Sape, the proponent of this event. From the bottom of my heart, maraming salamat po.